About to put the engine in. I've got e36 parts for, well, that's a ZF 5-speed gearbox from, you can either get them in a e36 M3 or a 328i. So I had this type of box in my compact, and I had a prop shaft made, which I've still got. So that's on the back of this. So the prop shaft's on. So that's e36 to the rear diff. It seems a bit further forward than I'd like it, but I don't know really until I get the engine in. So I'm going to drop the engine in now and see how it looks. But I'm not sure if the bulkhead's been moved about for the engine that was in it. I don't know. So pop the engine in, see what lines up with what. The flywheel I'm using is off a e30 325i, and that had a lot of the weight taken off it. A friend of mine skinned it. Cheers, Andy. We've got the engine in. It didn't put too much of a fight up. The clearance we've got is not massive at the moment, but I'll try and find my torch. Here it is. Yeah, for the steering column, it's not huge, but the engine isn't level at the moment. I've just stuck the level on the front of the sump, and this side of it needs to go down more, which will give more clearance at the exhaust manifolds and the steering column. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. It looks further forward than I was expecting. There's a bit of a gap there. I still have got play in the prop shaft. I can still go back 20mm. But I can't really fix anything until I know where the gearbox is going. And I've ordered an e30 gearbox mount, so I'm just waiting for that to arrive. And then I can get the gearbox in the right place. That'll put the prop in the right place. And then making the engine mounts is going to be pretty easy. Just make a plate up that goes around here, and it will go to, I've got these little rubber things go in there, obviously with a metal sleeve around it, weld it all together. Same for the other side. I've got the engine about where it needs to be. I've just been jiggling it about a bit and trying to get the gearbox to line up. I did have to cut a little bit off the end of the prop. That bit. That's the one that goes from the gearbox to the centre of the prop, where the joint is, just so I could move the whole engine back slightly. What I did was I got the old engine mounts and position them where they should be, so I could line them up with the slots for the original engine mounts. So that's the engine in the right position backwards. I thought it was a bit too far forwards before. So the prop's all on. It's not bolted up yet because obviously I'm still moving things about. I've centralised the engine, so I've measured from the centre of the crank to either side of the chassis legs, and that's central. We've got plenty of clearance on the exhaust manifold. I mean, there's like 20mm clearance there, which is ample. I might even drop the engine down slightly, make it slightly bit lower, because the way I've gauged the height is to keep the sump higher than the cross member. I don't want the sump dropping down and being, you know, lower than the cross member, or if I put a sump guard on, it's going to be bolted to the cross member. And I also got a magnetic level to put on the prop shaft, and the to find the angle of the two different parts of the prop. So I've got the front half zeroed. It's quite a clever little level actually. Yeah, so it just tells you what you have to go. You can't go obviously go flat because it won't like it. So then I zeroed it. It's a bit awkward, yes, because I'm holding it. And then I put it on the back part of the prop, and I think it's 0.02 of a degree difference between the front and the back. So I think that's good enough to keep it almost straight. I've still got a bit of fiddling about to do, and I can still lift up the centre part of the prop, get it exactly right, just to put a few shims in it or whatever. So now I have to get the gear stick in and see if that comes out in the original position. I'm not too sure where the original position is because I don't know what's happened with the gearbox tunnel. The original gearbox was a sequential one, so it's all been changed a bit. Yeah, there's been a bit welded on the top. That's where the original hole was. So I'm presuming it's going to come out somewhere there. So I might just cut that plate so you can see the original hole underneath. That's just been stuck on the top. And then check the gear stick comes out in the right place. And then I can start making mounts. Right, I've cut the two pieces, which I'm going to weld together. This is going to be the bit that bolts the engine. So I've done a basic outline drawing on there of what it wants to be. It doesn't need to be accurate in any way. So what I'm going to do here is leave a gap for, obviously this would be a lot easier if I had some wider 5mm steel, but I haven't, so I've got to weld two bits together. I'm going to do a Christmas tree weld on it, which is where the first point goes in for the roots, and then I'll do like a triangle as a cap, and then I'll go up a bit, cap, root, and cap, make my way up it, and then flip it over and do the other side. But what I'm going to do is tack it all together first, because it's going to try and curl. So I might put a little curl in the opposite way to compensate for it. Right, here goes. We're under the car now, and I'm just putting the exhaust on. but the issue I'm having is it's touching the bottom arm bush. So I think I'm going to have to just put a little dent in the exhaust to help clear it. Whilst we're down here, the prop shaft has just got to go forward a little bit now. I think, sorry about this, it's very hard to move stuff about. That's the bits I chopped off the end. So it's back too far anyway, it needs a bit of gap just for any movement. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but above the prop shaft, yeah, you can see that there. That's the gear stick, and it had nowhere to go, the end of it, so I've just made a little metal bracket and bolted it through from above, and that holds it all in a nice position. So I think I'll just dent the exhaust now and see how that works. I've put it in the press and pressed it. It's not going to do anything for performance, but it's got to fit. Let me give it a go now and see what happens.